So, എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. A warm good evening. IDA Kerala State in the WDC initiative ആയിട്ട് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന അൻവയ എന്ന പ്രൊജക്റ്റ് ആണ് എൻകറേജിങ് ടു ലിവ് പോസിറ്റീവ്ലി. അത് നമുക്കൊരു സൈലന്റ് പ്രയറോട് കൂടി സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം. Thank you, everyone. Now, I invite Dr. Sarah Christopher, our WDC chairperson, to welcome the gathering.
A warm welcome to each and everyone. Especially, we are really happy that Dr. Shankar Ram could come to our first webinar on Anvaya. Anvaya endoana we'd be wondering. So Sharon ana ee word because I was so caught up this week that she decided, we'd try something in the lines of what we'd already been going through, because all our projects are named after Sanskrit words this time. We had a project called Matritva, basically motherhood, for Women's Day, in which we went for pregnant women's dental checkup and care, and of course it went on beautifully with 34 to 35 branches doing beautiful work, as well as this project has, I think, reached the masses, so we're very happy. Dr. Shankaram and of course നമ്മുടെ ഈ ഹെൽത്ത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഇത് is a very important aspect of our lives, especially right now, and we thank you that you could come here. We welcome you, and of course we welcome Dr. Terry. Dr. Terry is our backbone nu parayam. Ellathinum encouragement ah. Ellam cheida endu choichalum oru no parayatilla. Yes, we can do it. Positive thinking. Appam ee Anvaya word Dr. Terry ki nalla pole cherum, because it's called positive thinking, positive life. So we thank you, Dr. Terry, for coming here. I know it's a very busy time for you. You're supposed to travel in a few hours. Dr. Sharon undu. Welcome, Dr. Sharon. She is the co-convener of WDC Kerala State. Sharon, the big woman behind the scene, because she's the one behind the scene who runs around and does things. So, welcome, Sharon. She'll be leading us through this session on 4 pillars of health, and she'll be our MC for today. And we have a lot of our other members. Dr. Rinsi, our president of IDA Patnamthitta. We have senior members, Dr. Anita ma'am. There is Dr. Lailajam ma'am. We have Dr. Sunil Alexander. So we welcome all of you. I don't want to miss any name. There are so many of you. Participants listed already 41 cross. So Dr. Shankar, we expect more than 50 to 55 people. So we welcome each and everyone from IDA Kerala State and from the Women's Dental Council. This project of Anvaya, we hope we can bring it through this whole year. Project to focus on the members' health, project to focus on the members' mental health, because it put the present situation, what we do is we run around, we stress about, we never bother to think and introspect ourselves and understand what our body's needs are. So that is something that I think our renowned speaker for this day would be giving us. I hope I have not missed anyone in this welcome. So welcome you all to this program on 4 pillars of health. Over to you, Dr. Usha.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah. Now I invite Dr. Terry Thomas Iratoti for our presidential address.
Thank you, Usha. Speaker of the day, Dr. Shankar Ram. Our WDC chair, Dr. Sarah Christopher. Sharon Thomas. The person behind all the webinars, Dr. Usha Narayanan, and all the other members of IDA Kerala State who are attending all this webinar. Good evening to one and all. ഞാൻ ആദ്യമേ തന്നെ എനിക്ക് ഈ ഒരു കാര്യത്തിൽ, കാരണം ഈ വർഷത്തെ WDCയുടെ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് എല്ലാം വ്യത്യസ്തമായിരുന്നു. ആൻഡ് പീപ്പിൾ ആർ ഓൾ very well appreciating the programs, and really not for the members alone and for the general public. അതാണ് ഇതിനകത്ത് മെയിൻ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു കാര്യം, നമ്മുടെ ഒരു സോഷ്യൽ കമ്മിറ്റ്മെന്റ്, ഒരു സാമൂഹിക പ്രതിബദ്ധതയുടെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടും നമ്മൾ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്നു. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് അതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ. എനിവേ, ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ ലെറ്റ് മീ കൺഗ്രാജുലേറ്റ് Dr. Sarah and Dr. Sherin for the entire work you are doing. And എനിക്കറിയാം ഉഷേനെ പേഴ്സണലി അറിയാവുന്നവരെ, ഞങ്ങളിപ്പോ ഒരു ഫാമിലി ഫ്രണ്ടാണ്. ഉഷ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്തൊരു കാര്യവും ഏറ്റെടുത്താൽ അത് വളരെ മനോഹരമായിട്ട് ആ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു വ്യക്തിയാണ്. അപ്പോ ഈ ഒരു ടീമിലേക്ക് ഉഷേനെ കിട്ടിയതിലും ഉഷയുടെ ഈ ഫസ്റ്റ് പ്രോഗ്രാം, and I really congratulate Dr. Usha for this your efforts on this. I know how എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും ഈ ഒരു സമയത്ത് ഈ കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടുപോകേണ്ടത് എന്നുള്ളത് ഉഷ. ആൻഡ് ഉഷയുടെ ഒരു കാര്യമുണ്ട്, ഷീ ഈസ് നോട്ട് ഇൻ ടു ദിസ് അലോൺ. പ്രചോദന എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ക്ലാസ് ഓൾസോ ഷീ ഈസ് കണ്ടക്ടിങ്. പുള്ളി ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞ ഉഷയുടെ ഒരു ബയോഡേറ്റയും കൂടെ ഇവിടെ വായിക്കേണ്ട ഒരു ഇതുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ. എനിവേ, once again thank you Usha and all of you who are attending this program. And this time ഞാൻ ഒന്ന് രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ മാത്രം പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് I'll just wind up. First of all, ഞാൻ ഈ 4 pillars of health എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഈ കഴിഞ്ഞ 2 ആഴ്ചയും കൊണ്ട് എനിക്കുണ്ടായ 2 അനുഭവങ്ങൾ പറയാം. കാരണം ഒന്ന്, എൻ്റെ ഒരു ഫ്രണ്ട് ENT സർജൻ, അവൻ ഒരു ദിവസം എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു 10-15 സർജറീസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ 5 to 10 സർജറീസ് ആണ് മിനിമം ആയിട്ട് ചെയ്തു പോകുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെ പുള്ളി ചെയ്യുന്നു, ഇഷ്ടംപോലെ പണം ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നു, ഇതെല്ലാം ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഒരു ദിവസം ഇതുപോലെ തന്നെ എന്തോ ഒരു ചെറിയ ദേഹാസ്വാസ്ഥ്യം പോലെ വന്നു. ലിസി ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിലാണ് വന്നത്. ലിസി ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ വന്നപ്പോ അവിടുത്തെ കാർഡിയോ ഡോക്ടർ ചോദിച്ചു, എങ്ങനെയുണ്ട് വർക്കൊക്കെ, എങ്ങനെയാണ് രാവിലെ, എങ്ങനെയാണ് എക്സസൈസ്, ബാക്കിയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ചോദിച്ചു. സാറേ സമയം കിട്ടാറില്ല, രാത്രി 2 മണിയാകുമ്പോൾ കഴിയും, രാവിലെ 5 മണിയാകുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും 4 hours ഉറങ്ങും, രാവിലെ 7 മണി 8 മണിയാകുമ്പോൾ റൗണ്ട്സിന് പോകും, വീണ്ടും വരും. അപ്പൊ ഡോക്ടർ പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു തമാശയുണ്ട്, യു വർക്ക് ഹാർഡ്, നന്നായിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നു, കൺഗ്രാറ്റുലേഷൻസ്, ബിക്കോസ് യു ആർ മേക്കിംഗ് മോർ മണി. എന്തിനാന്ന്, ഈ ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിലേക്ക് തന്നെ അത് തിരിച്ചു വരും. ഡോണ്ട് വറി അബൌട്ട് ഇറ്റ്, യു ആർ വർക്കിംഗ് സോ ഹാർഡ്. ഈ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഇതിന്റെ ഈ പൈസ എല്ലാം തിരിച്ച്. അപ്പൊ പുള്ളിക്ക് എന്നാന്ന് മനസ്സിലായില്ല. അപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞു, മനുഷ്യനായാൽ അല്പം എക്സസൈസ് വേണം, മനുഷ്യനായ അല്പം മെന്റലി ഫിസിക്കലി ഒരു ഹെൽത്ത് നമ്മൾ മെയിൻറ്റെയിൻ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസിനെ കുറിച്ച് അദ്ദേഹം അവിടെ സംസാരിച്ചു. അതിനുശേഷം ഈ പറയുന്ന വ്യക്തി ആ 5 സർജറിയിലേക്കും ആഴ്ചയിൽ 3 ദിവസത്തേക്കുമായി കുറച്ചു. അതിന്റെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് എന്താണെന്ന് നമ്മൾ വഴിയിലേക്ക് ചെല്ലും. നമുക്ക് ഇപ്പോഴും ഒരു ആരോഗ്യമുണ്ട്, അതുകൊണ്ട് മുഴുവൻ വെട്ടിപ്പിടിക്കാം എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ച് ഓടുന്ന ഒരു സാഹചര്യവും സമൂഹവുമാണ് നമുക്ക് മുന്നിലുള്ളത്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ് കഴിഞ്ഞ 2 ആഴ്ച മുമ്പ് നമ്മുടെ ഐഡിയയിലെ ഒരു മെമ്പറിന്റെ ക്ലിനിക്കിൽ ഞാൻ കൺസൾട്ടേഷന് ചെല്ലുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട് പോലെ ഫീൽ ചെയ്തു. അപ്പൊ ഒരു 2-3 ദിവസമായി. അപ്പോ എന്നോട് ചോദിച്ചു, പറഞ്ഞു ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ കാണിക്കാം. അപ്പൊ വൈഫ് പറഞ്ഞു, ഡോക്ടർ ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞേച്ച് പോവും, പിന്നെ അദ്ദേഹം ഒന്നും ചെയ്യില്ല എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാൻ അപ്പൊ തന്നെ ലിസി ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിലേക്ക് വിളിച്ച് ഒരു അപ്പോയിന്റ്മെന്റ് ബുക്ക് ചെയ്തു. നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഡേ രാവിലെ ഡ്രൈവറെ അറേഞ്ച് ചെയ്തു. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ അവിടുത്തെ കൺസൾട്ടന്റ് ആണ്. അപ്പൊ ആ ഡോക്ടറെ കൊണ്ട് അവിടെ ചെല്ലുന്നു. ആദ്യം അവിടുത്തെ പൾമിനോളജിനെ കണ്ടു, കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. അപ്പൊ ഹി വാസ് ഹാപ്പി. അപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞു, ഒരു കാർഡിയോളജി ഒരു ചെക്കപ്പോടെ ചെയ്തോളാൻ പറഞ്ഞു. നേരെ അദ്ദേഹം നോക്കിയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു, വേണ്ട, ഒരു ആൻജിയോഗ്രാം തന്നെ അങ്ങ് ചെയ്തേക്കാം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ആൻജിയോഗ്രാം ചെയ്ത് ഉച്ചയ്ക്ക് എന്റെ ഡ്യൂട്ടി കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഞാൻ ഇറങ്ങുന്ന സമയത്ത് കോൾ വന്നു, സാറേ ഇതാണ് സംഭവം, എന്താ ചെയ്യേണ്ടതെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. 90% ബ്ലോക്ക്. അപ്പൊ ഈ വ്യക്തി പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് മോർണിംഗ് 9 o'clock ടു ഈവനിങ് നൈറ്റ് 10 o'clock വരെയാണ് ഇദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ പ്രാക്ടീസ്. ആൻഡ് ഹി ഡസൻ ഹാവ് എനി അസിസ്റ്റൻസ്. വൈഫാണ് അസിസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന, മകനാണ് ബാക്കിയുള്ള ഫ്രണ്ട് ഓഫീസ് മാനേജ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ജസ്റ്റ് ഇമാജിൻ ദെയർ ലൈഫ് സ്റ്റൈൽ. അപ്പൊ ഈ ഒരു ലൈഫ് സ്റ്റൈൽ കൊണ്ട് മാത്രം ഉണ്ടായ ഒരു ഇതാണെന്ന് അദ്ദേഹം അപ്പൊ തന്നെ ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 3 ദിവസം കഴിഞ്ഞ് റൂമിൽ വന്നു. നമ്മൾ കാര്യങ്ങൾ സംസാരിച്ചപ്പോഴാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. അപ്പൊ വാട്ട് ഹെൽത്തിന്റെ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് എന്താണ്, നമുക്ക് വെൽനെസ് ആണോ വേണ്ടേ അതോ ഇൽനെസ് ആണോ വേണ്ടേ എന്ന് വി ഹാവ് ടു ചൂസ്. ഇറ്റ്സ് അവർ, നമ്മുടെയാണ്, നമ്മളാ തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത്. വെദർ യു വാണ്ട് വെൽനെസ് ഓർ യു വാണ്ട് ഇൽനെസ്. നമുക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഒരു പ്രിവെന്റീവ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പ്രിവെൻഷൻ ഈസ് ബെറ്റർ ദാൻ ക്യൂർ എന്നുള്ള കാര്യം പണ്ടുപോലെ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത്. സോ വി ഹാവ് ടൈം. രാവിലെ നമ്മളൊക്കെ ബിസിയാണ്, പക്ഷെ എങ്കിലും രാവിലെ കുറച്ചു നേരം, അത് സാറ് എന്നെ കുറിച്ച് പറയും, ഞാൻ അതിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നില്ല. എനിവേ, ഈ ഒരു സംരംഭം എന്താണെങ്കിലും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ എല്ലാവർക്കും, നമ്മുടെ മെമ്പേഴ്സിന് മാത്രമല്ല, നമ്മുടെ ഫാമിലിക്ക് മാത്രമല്ല, ടു ദ സൊസൈറ്റി, ഈ ഒരു കാര്യം നമ്മൾ അറിഞ്ഞു കഴിയുമ്പോൾ, നമ്മൾ അത് സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ മാത്രമാണ് അത് പൂർണ്ണതയിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്നത്. സോ താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് ഡോക്ടർ ഉഷ once again for conducting this program. Let all the 10 programs, ഉഷ എന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞു, അങ്ങനെ 10 webinars on health and family അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പബ്ലിക്കിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള 10 പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് ആണ് ഡോക്ടർ പറഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. എനിവേ, എല്ലാ പ്രോഗ്രാംസും മനോഹരമായി തീരട്ടെ. സോ നമ്മുടെ കമ്മിറ്റ്മെന്റ് ടുവേഴ്സ് അവർ സെൽഫ്, നമ്മുടെ ജീവിതം ബാലൻസ്ഡ് ആകാനും നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഹെൽത്തി ലൈഫ് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാനും എല്ലാവർക്കും ഈ സാറിന്റെ ശങ്കർ സാറിനെ കുറിച്ച് അറിയാം. ട്രിവാൻഡ്രം കോളേജിൽ അവിടുന്നാണ് റിട്ടയർമെന്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞതെന്നാണ് ഞാൻ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നത്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഒരു ബുക്ക് പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്ത ഒരു ബുക്കിനെ കുറിച്ചും ഞാൻ അറിയാൻ ഇടയായി. എനിവേ, താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് സർ ഫോർ കമ്മിങ് ആൻഡ് ഗിവിങ് ടേക്കിംഗ് ടൈം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ ഒരു സമയം കണ്ടെത്തി ഞങ്ങളെ ഒന്ന് എൻലൈറ്റൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഈ ഒരു സമയം കണ്ടെത്തിയതിന് ഒത്തിരി സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. ഓൾ ദ ബെസ്റ്റ് ടു എവ്രിബഡി ആൻഡ് താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് ഫോർ കോളിംഗ് ഫോർ ദിസ് മീറ്റിംഗ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, Dr. Terry, for that encouraging words. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും ഹെൽത്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നമ്മൾ നാളെ April 7th വേൾഡ് ഹെൽത്ത് ഡേ നമ്മൾ ആഘോഷിക്കുകയാണ്. ഈ വർഷത്തെ തീം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മൈ ഹെൽത്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് മൈ ഡ്യൂട്ടി, മൈ റൈറ്റ് എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. മൈ ഹെൽത്ത് ഇസ് മൈ റൈറ്റ് എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. പക്ഷെ ശങ്കർ സാറിനോട് സംസാരിച്ചപ്പോൾ സാർ അതിലേക്ക് ഒരു കാര്യം ആഡ് ചെയ്തു. അതിനോട് ചേർന്ന് നിൽക്കുന്നതാണ് നമ്മുടെ അൻവയ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു പേര്. അതിപ്പോ സംസ്കൃതമാണ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അതിന്റെ ഒരു അർത്ഥം പറഞ്ഞ് നമ്മൾ സെഷനിലേക്ക് പോവുകയാണ്. ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ഓഫ് ദ സ്പീക്കറിലേക്ക് പോവുകയാണ്. അൻവയ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ലോജിക്കൽ കണക്ഷൻ ഓഫ് വേർഡ്സ് ഇൻ എ സെന്റൻസ്. കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റുവൽ ആയിട്ട് ഒരു കാര്യത്തിന് ഒരു മീനിങ് നമ്മൾ കണ്ടെടുക്കുന്നു. ഇത് അദ്വൈത സിദ്ധാന്തത്തിന് ഡെറിവേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുള്ളതാണെന്നും കോസും ഇഫക്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒന്നുമില്ല. നമ്മുടെ തീമിലേക്കാണ് കേട്ടോ വരണേ. മൈ ഹെൽത്ത് ഇസ് മൈ റെസ്പോൺസിബിലിറ്റി. കോസും ഇഫക്റ്റും, കാര്യവും കാരണവും ഞാൻ തന്നെയാണ് എന്ന തിരിച്ചറിവ് നമ്മൾക്ക് നൽകാനായിട്ട് ഇവിടെ എത്തിച്ചേർന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു എമിനന്റ് സ്പീക്കർ ആണ്. അപ്പോ നമ്മുടെ ഇന്നത്തെ സ്പീക്കറെ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ഡോക്ടർ ഇന്ദുനെ ഇൻവൈറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു. ഡോക്ടർ മ്യൂട്ട് ആണ്. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Usha. Good evening, everybody. Today, I take the privilege in introducing our speaker, Dr. Shankar Ram R, who's a senior consultant in physical medicine at General Hospital, Trivandrum. He's done his schooling in Loyola School, Trivandrum. He's done his UG and PG in Medical College, Trivandrum. He has 27 years of experience in physical medicine, and he's also got 12 years of experience in sports medicine department. He's been a true inspiration to many by proving that age is just a number by completing 2 full marathon of 42.2 kilometers at the age of 50. His interests are road running, cycling, gut microbiome, healthy longevity. I welcome you, sir, for this beautiful session, and sure we all are going to have a wellness over illness session today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Indu. Now, Shankar sir, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Indu, for the kind words of introduction. I would like to thank Dr. Usha, Dr. Sara, Dr. Terry, and all the leaders of IDA Kerala chapter for giving me this opportunity. Couple of things I would like to mention at the start itself. I would like a few of you to keep your videos open. I don't want to see my own face all the time. So just a few of you, because I'll be otherwise speaking to a blank screen. Then somebody should take up the responsibility of compiling all the doubts that we are asking our participants to put in the inbox.
Sure.
So you can, yeah. So Dr. Usha will take care of that. And please make sure that the others keep their mute their mics, the other participants, because that will create a bit of disturbance in between. Taking off from what Dr. Terry was speaking about his experience in the recent past, I will share my own story, because as somebody said, age is not just a number. Age is a very relevant number, which we are all facing. Those who are below the age of 40 can just put a hi in the inbox, those who are below the age of 40. Because I'm going to speak to those who are below the age of 40 and those who are above the age of 40. 20 years back. I am 59 now. As Dr. Terry mentioned, I have not retired from service. I am Chief Consultant Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation General Hospital Trivandrum. I have retired from service, but I'll be retiring soon. I am 59 now. I'll be retiring at the age of 60. 20 years back, that is when I was 39, I used to take Shabarimala duty very regularly. From Health Services Department, there is always during the season, the Shabarimala Mandala Vilakka Magara Puja, Mandala Puja season, doctors are posted at Shabarimala. So when I was 39, I found it very hard to go up the 5 kilometers from Pamba to Shabarimala. I sat down on the road. When I lay down, I was lying down on the path for some time. There were no oxygen parlors 20 years back. After some time, I had a couple of oranges and then continued my trek up the Shabarimala. Reached there, took my duty for 15 days. I was fine. When I came back, I was at that time also, I was working in Trivandrum General Hospital. When I came back, a medical representative came to me and told me that he has got a glucometer. Now, we all know what a glucometer is, and we have all used the glucometer. But 20 years back, I wasn't aware of how to use the glucometer. And then he said, because we have very few samples, I'll be bringing the glucometer to your home. So he came around 8:30 p.m. I just had my dinner. So I asked him to demonstrate the glucometer. When he just took a small drop of blood from my ring finger, put it on the strip of the glucometer, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it showed 221. So he thought the glucometer was faulty. So I asked him to check his own blood sugar, and it came out as 108. So what was faulty? I suddenly realized that the glucometer is not faulty. My whole body was faulty. I had already got diabetes at the age of 39. So because I was working in General Hospital Trivandrum at that time, I met a senior physician who's no more. So he asked me to do a full blood checkup. Luckily, I didn't have blood pressure, but I had dyslipidemia, I had very high cholesterol, I had very high LDL. I went and met Dr. Matthew White, who's a cardiologist, professor of cardiology at Medical College. So he did an echocardiogram on me and found out that I had a small diastolic dysfunction also. So usually this is what happens mostly in doctors' lives, because we think that we are okay, and sometimes we do a whole body checkup, or we do which is very fashionable nowadays. You go to King's Hospital or Anandapuri or wherever and do a couple of scans and a whole body checkup, which they'll take a considerable amount of money from you. And then finally, a doctor will come and see you and ask you to reduce 10 to 15 kg in 6 months' time. Which, I don't know, I have never seen anybody. I fail to understand how a doctor can ask a person to reduce 10 to 15 kg in 6 months' time. That is impossible. You have to cut off a portion of your flesh to reduce 10 to 15 kg in 6 months' time. So this is what happened. So fast forward to 20 years later. Last year, I went via Erimeli to Shabarimala in 2023. That is 18 years later. Erimeli to Shabarimala is not 5 kilometers, it is 50 kilometers. You have to trek for 2 days with a 8 to 10 kg backpack on my shoulder. And after the age of 50, I have done 2 full marathons. I am not boasting. I'm just saying that my health is considerably better than when I was 39 years old. So that is why I said 40 is one of the cutoffs. World over, if you are 30, if you are 20, you are in the prime of your health. If you are 30, none of these lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, stroke, none of these things will happen to you in the next decade. But you have to fast forward and think about what will be your situation in the last decade of your life. You may be You may live up to your 80s, you may live up to your 90s also. So how do we find out what sort of lifestyle we can lead late into our 80s and 90s? So a study was done. A study with spanning 20 to 25 years was a documentary on the blue zones. It is there on Netflix. It is called the Blue Zones. Blue Zone study shows that it was done in Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia in Greece, Sicilia in Italy, Loma Linda in the US. It's a community of Seventh-day Adventist sort of personnel, people who follow that sort of what do you call it, the Christian way of life, and a couple of places in Africa, group of Jains in India. Jains, people who belong to the religion Jainism. So they found out a few aspects which were startling, like Dr. Terry was saying. Basically, they had 5 qualities. Number 1, eat less. Number 2, eat less often. Number 3, exercise moderately and regularly. Moderately, not go all out. Moderately and regularly. Number 4, cook your own food, not Swiggy, Zomato. Cook your own food. And number 5, which is the hardest and probably difficult to emulate, grow your own. Grow your own food. Other than grow your own food, all these things are very easy for us professionals. So, number 1 is, I'll say it once more because this is not a live workshop. I'll say it once more. Eat less often, exercise regularly and moderately, cook your own food, grow your own. So now let us move to the 4 pillars of health. What are the 4 pillars? Number 1, sleep. Healthy sleep or sleep hygiene. Number 2, this is in order of importance. Number 2, exercise or physical activity. Number 3, diet or nutrition. And number 4, it is a bouquet of things like rest, relaxation, environmental connect, social connect, mindfulness, all sorts of things. I usually give a very simple term to it. I ask the participants of the workshops, what is your hobby? And so many of them say, I don't have a hobby. And some of them say, I have no time for a hobby. Hobby is not something which you need time for. It's something which you're passionate about, where you find some sort of happiness throughout your life. It could be anything. It could be dancing, it could be hearing music, it could be watching movies, anything other than scrolling on the internet can be a hobby, in my opinion. So let us come back to the most important one, which is sleep. I am going pretty fast because I think we'll have a big Q&A session at the end, right at the end, wherein you can compile all the questions, and then we can have a real discussion on all these topics also. I hope everybody will start writing their doubts as the session goes on in the chat box. So as far as sleep is concerned, how does sleep impact your health? Why are we sleeping? Because long hundreds of years back, sleep would be the most dangerous thing to do. Either you will be eaten by wild animals if you're sleeping, or you may be attacked by others, people from other sects, other tribes, or you may find it difficult to get enough food. You have to forage for your food. You have to go around hunting, picking berries, finding fruits to eat. At the same time, you slept 8 hours a day. And then for procreation, You cannot go on sleeping. You have to be awake. So all these things were against sleep, but somehow or other it seems to be very important in our life. None of the scientific community have found out what sleep does to us. It is of maximum benefit, so much so that there is no Guinness Book of World Records for sleep deprivation. You cannot find a world record for I did not sleep for 70 hours or I did not sleep for 102 hours. There's nothing like that. There is, for intermittent fasting, there is a record. Even for going without water, also there may be a record, but no record for sleeping, for keeping yourselves awake rather than sleeping. And not only that, this is where most of us were badly trained from a very young age. You know why? Because we used to keep up very bad hours to study for our exams, for our dental exams, for our medical exams. We used to have very bad sleep hygiene. So what are the problems if you sleep less? I'll tell you a couple of things. Number one, a person who sleeps less than 5 hours a day, a man, has less testosterone than a person who sleeps less than around 7 hours a day, has less testosterone. Then people will be thinking, what is a big issue? Supposing I have less testosterone, what is a big deal? Because testosterone plays a huge role. Likewise, for women's health also. If you are sleep deprived, lots of things can happen. And it has been found out that there is something called daylight saving in the West. That is, when the spring comes, they change their clock. They change the time of their clock 1 hour ahead. And when just before winter, they push it back again because the winter nights are longer and the days are shorter. They push it back again. So what happens during that one day when the clock is pushed back, you get less sleep. So a person who was sleeping 5 hours a day usually gets only 4 hours of sleep on that day until you get used to it. So it has been found out that 21% heart attacks are more on that day, on the next day, when you are sleep deprived for just 1 hour. And there is another study which states that if you are sleep deprived for less than 4 hours continuously for a week, the chances of you getting a heart attack is 20% more. So that is the importance of sleep. And not only that, if you do not have good sleep hygiene, the chances of you getting dementia and Alzheimer's disease is also much more. So now we have started thinking about sleep. Previously, we have never started thinking about sleep. We are talking about sleep without taking the tablet. Even Vicks has brought out a tablet for sleep, a melatonin tablet, which is called some Z, as though you're going to sleep. So you have to get good sleep without taking tablets. So how do we get good sleep? Just like I mentioned about the blue zones, there are 5 things you can do to get high quality sleep. Number 1, regularity. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. I'll say it once more. Number 1 is regularity. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. Every single day. If you're going to bed at 10, go to bed and try to go to bed at 10 every single day. Second one, you have to have real pitch darkness at the place where you're sleeping. Don't say that I am scared of robbers. Let me keep the bathroom light on. Or I'm hearing sounds outside. Let me keep this light on, that light on. You should not do that. Third one is there should not be any sound in the area where you're sleeping. There should not be any sound. And then you should switch off all devices 1 hour before you go to sleep. Switch off all devices, which includes the TV, any visual device. You can go on reading till you go to sleep, but you have to switch off all devices. Switch off means I am not saying you have to switch off your mobile phone. Somebody calls you, you can take the call, but you can talk to them, but nothing on a screen, on a lighted screen. Switch off your mobiles, your tablets, your laptops, your TV screens. So these are some of the very simple things which will enable you to sleep better. And then there is always the argument of how many hours of sleep do you need? Best is 8 hours of sleep, but okay to get at least 6 hours of sleep. All adults should get at least 6 hours of sleep. We will move on to the next topic. We will come to exercise after we talk a little bit about nutrition, healthy nutrition. Recently, over the past 3-4 years, some new aspects have come into the world of nutrition. These things I haven't learned during my undergraduate days, or I don't think it's being taught even now. Very little has been taught to undergraduates during their undergraduate days regarding nutrition, regarding exercise, and regarding mental health. These are three very important aspects of, as Dr. Terry mentioned, of wellness. We are all illness specialists. We are not wellness specialists. But we should we should know a little bit of wellness in order that we can manage our own health, as mentioned in the slogan, my health, my right. We have added my health, my right, and my responsibility. Nobody else is going to take that responsibility. And as far as your family goes, it is our responsibility to look after our family because we are from the medical profession. Our spouse may be also from the medical profession, but may not be also. Our parents may not be from the medical profession. Our children have not yet entered the medical profession. So it is our duty and responsibility to look after our family's health also. And not only that, now what is coming up in the Western world especially is, as far as we are concerned, we clinicians are concerned, we are only bothered about giving the right treatment to the patient. But at the same time, till 1948, I think the American Dental Association used to call themselves the Association of Dentists and Dental Hygienists. And after 1948, they just cut out the dental hygiene part because they thought that we'll just manage the treatment side and get all the money that we can. Because the other one is all about advising. So better not. But I would definitely encourage you all to give a little bit of nutrition advice also when they come to you. Because they are coming to you for dental problems. They'll definitely take your advice. Supposing you ask them to brush their teeth using a particular toothpaste, they'll do that, no? Supposing you ask them to use mouthwash, they'll definitely do that. Even my father, mother, not my father, father-in-law and mother are using exactly the same toothpaste that was asked them to be used by a dentist. So it would be nice if you can give them the right nutrition advice also. So jumping into nutrition advice, just like sleep, this is also pretty easy to follow. Number one, our body weight is not that important. Our health has very little to do with our weight of our body. It has more to do with the amount of fat you have, the amount of muscle you have, your waist circumference, etc., etc. But it has nothing to do with your. So, what should you consume? Whenever we go on a diet, what do? From tomorrow onwards, I am on a keto diet, or I am on an Atkins diet, or I am on a low-fat diet, or I am on a vegan diet. This is all sort of exclusion. You are trying to stop. From tomorrow onwards, I am not having any sugar. I am not having anything sweet. you're not trying to include anything. You're always trying to exclude lots of things from your life. So I would just turn it upside down and try to encourage you all to eat more. Eat more of what? Eat more of the, I have a short form that for that. F goals. FGOALS. If you have a paper in front of you, just note it down. And I will start telling you what all the F goals are. F stands for fruits and fermented foods. Fruits and fermented foods. The most common fermented food that we have is curd or yogurt. Fruits and fermented foods. F. Then G. GOALS. G. G stands for greens and grains. The green vegetables, the leafy greens, and the grains. What are the grains? Grains, rice, wheat, millets. Millets are in fashion now. It's the International Year of Millets. But it should not be refined. That is, parboiled rice is better than white rice. And red rice is better than parboiled rice. Likewise, you should not have refined wheat also. It is better to have buy the wheat and give it to the shop, get it ground and use that. Because all these wheat that is available in the market, I'm not saying the name of any brand, they are all refined wheat. And millets also, there are lots of unrefined millets. You can select any of them. There are lots of recipes on the net also. So G stands for greens and grains. O stands for omega-3. Where do you get the omega-3 from? Everybody will say fish. What happens to people like me? I've been a vegetarian for 5 years. Where do I get the omega-3 from? Omega-3 is seen in flax seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds. All these seeds have omega-3. All these are available. Ajwa and all these places, Kollam cashew. All these places all around, everywhere in Kerala it is available. Omega-3 is seen in fish, chia seed, flax seed, hemp seed. So that is O. Next one is, next alphabet is A. A is for aromatics. What are aromatics? Onion, the big onion, the small onion, the garlic. All these three have aromatics, GOA. And L is the most important superfood in the world. If you take, because it is the only food that has both fiber as well as protein. So what are the legumes? നമ്മുടെ ചെറുപയർ, വൻപയർ, വെള്ളക്കടല, കറുത്ത കടല, രാജ്മ, all seeds, all almonds, all nuts, the cucumber seed, the sunflower seed, all these are come under the big tray of legumes. So GOAL and S. What does S stand for? It's a slightly just to make it GOALS. S stands for mushrooms and seaweed. Mushrooms and seaweed are eaten by two of the healthiest westernized communities in the world. Seaweed is eaten by Japanese. Even the westernized Japanese eat seaweed. And westernized Koreans, who are the healthiest of the westernized East Asian population who are westernized, all the Koreans eat mushroom. Mushroom is very healthy. So now let us come to, now it is boring because it is not food we are talking about. We are talking about the ingredients. So if you can put 2 fruits into everybody's daily routine every day, 2 fruits, and at least 5 colored vegetables. 5 colored vegetables, which is very easy. ഒരു അവിയൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയാൽ മതി, 5 വെജിറ്റബിൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കാം അല്ലേ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു തോരൻ, ഒരു മെഴുക്കുവരട്ടി. I am just talking about normal Malayali. And now there is a slight paradox between 2 food items that are considered very important. Which do we consider the most important part of our food for a daily diet? Everybody would say roti. Actually, that is not the most important. We all get enough and more protein. We are protein rich, not protein poor or protein uh, that is starved of protein. When I was doing my MBBS days during the 80s, we had protein energy management. Now we do not have any protein energy management. Everybody is eating enough or more of protein. So don't bother about protein. Bother only about the most important ingredient in our diet, which is the fiber. It is the fiber. So all these food that I mentioned, other than fermented foods, have fiber. Fruits have fiber. Some of the fermented foods, if you're fermenting cabbage, carrot, vegetables, they all have fiber. All the grains have fiber, but in very small amount. All the greens have a lot of fiber. All the omega-3, the hemp seed, flax seed, chia seed, but the fish does not have fiber. None of the non-vegetarian food have fiber. So if you are eating രാവിലെ രണ്ട് അപ്പവും മുട്ടക്കറിയും കഴിച്ചു, in the afternoon you have fish curry meals, but there was cabbage thoran which you don't like. You had pickle and papadam along with the fish curry and curd. And in the evening you had samosa and tea. And at night you had 2 chapatis and chicken curry. You had zero fiber for the day. And why is fiber so important? Fiber is important because how many cells are there in the human body? There are around 10 to 12 trillion cells in the human body. But at the same time, our gut microbiome, which is our large intestine, which is only 2.5 feet long, it has got 40 trillion bacteria, 40 trillion bacteria, and a few viruses and fungi. Most of it is 99.99% of it is the good bacteria. Just like the Indian army is second only to the Chinese army, our bacteria is very important for us, and they are very, very, very powerful. And they are very specific. They party only on fiber. They party only on fiber. So if you don't give them fiber, they are starved for the day. So what happens if they are starved for the day? Supposing you continue with all this English breakfast and American diet is called standard American sad. It is really sad. The things they are eating have no fiber. So it is called a sad diet. They have called it themselves, they have called it a sad standard American diet. So if you are starving on fiber, what happens is your gut microbiome will slowly creep up into the small intestine. So what does this gut microbiome make? Why is it so important? What is so important for you? Fatty acids are very important for you. They are the short chain fatty acids. The short chain fatty acid, which includes the butyrate, propionate, acetate, and lactate, they are all made in the human body only by the gut microbiome. Nobody else has the capacity to make short chain fatty acids unless you give it to them directly. You can consume short chain fatty acids in fermented foods. Otherwise, the gut microbiome only has the capacity to make short chain fatty acids. So let us bring ourselves back to what we are eating regularly. Like I mentioned one diet I mentioned in the morning. Right now, like appam and mutta and all that, you can change it to white bread, milk, a couple of eggs. They all seem very healthy diet, but they don't have any fiber. So supposing you do not have fiber, what happens is your immunity is badly affected. Your gut microbiome will creep up the small intestine, and then it is called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And then they start causing lots of inflammation, which includes dental inflammations too, like gingivitis, all sorts of gum infections. But otherwise, sinusitis, rhinitis, everything with an itis is an inflammation. It can cause type 2 diabetes, it can cause dyslipidemia, it can cause fatty liver, it can cause all sorts of things, including in the intestine, it can cause ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease. All these things are caused by just by these bacteria getting irritable, just by this bacteria on the war path, because you are not feeding it the right things to feed on. So that is the importance of fiber, and fiber feeds on and bacteria feed on fiber, and fiber is the prebiotic. So whenever you eat a tablet like Darolac or yogurt, it is a prebiotic, but it contains only 5 million or 50 million bacteria. What we are talking about is 40 trillion. What is 1 million? 1 million is 1 followed by 6 zeros. 1 trillion is 1 followed by 12 zeros. So you can imagine, you're just giving it, it's like saying, I'll pour a bottle of Pepsi into the Shangumukham beach. It's just like that. It is of no importance to the gut bacteria. Just popping one pill every day and feeling that, okay, I have given enough fiber to my body. Now I become passionate talking about fiber and gut microbiome. That is why I mentioned that in my introduction also. Seems to be the most important part of our daily lives. Then regarding diet, so you have to include all these things that have fiber. Then what you should avoid? It is better to avoid all processed food. All processed food. Anything that comes in a cover, in a pack, that is available in a store, on a shelf, you have to avoid. I'll tell you a simple example. Recently, I got this from Dr. Mumtaz, who is a senior nutritionist in Kochi. So she was saying, which is the healthiest biscuit in the market? And she gave the diagrams of 3 biscuits: arrowroot biscuit, then something called a digestive biscuit, and then the usual biscuit which is given to children, glucose biscuit. And then she was saying all these contain 60 to 70% maida, even the arrowroot biscuit. So how can it be healthy? It cannot be healthy at all. Even the digestive biscuit is unhealthy. And whenever we see patients carrying small children, each time the child cries, the mother will put one Oreo into the mouth of the child. Oreo is just ingestible poison. It has no nutritional value. Most of the things available in the market in a box or a packet have no nutritional value. And not only that, whenever you when you go to a big hotel, what do you order for the children first? A Pepsi and French fries. So you are actually feeding the children with unhealthy food. At the same time, you are having the healthy food. So you should try to avoid the unhealthy food. And one more aspect of diet and nutrition which is important is, it is very difficult to change your ways. But it is always better to change your ways by embracing atomic habits. Some of you must have read that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. He mentions four things to change your nutritional habits. Number 1 is, you have to state that from tomorrow onwards, I am not going to take any snacks. This is just an example. I am not going to take any unhealthy snacks, the oily snacks, പരിപ്പ് വട, ഉഴുന്ന് വട, വാഴയ്ക്കപ്പം, bhaji, bonda. All those are oily snacks which are always available in all the roadside stores. So you select one, you say from tomorrow onwards, proclaim to everybody at home, നാളെ തൊട്ട് ഞാനിത് എടുത്ത് കഴിക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ പറയണം, എന്റെ തെറ്റ്. Or you say from tomorrow onwards, I'm not going to use refined sugar. Or from tomorrow onwards, I'm not going to drink any beverage other than coffee, tea, lime juice, or what do you call it, curd or yogurt, or green tea. So that is the only way. And if you are packing your shelf or your dining table with all these savory items, it will be very difficult to shift from that. So to have better items at home would be nice for the children also. Have a couple of seasonal fruits there. Have a papaya or a pineapple. Now it is mango season is coming. You can buy some mangoes. Plantains are always there. The Palangodan Padam, Desagadali, Robusta, Pappapadam, they are always there in our market. So you can use one or two of the seasonal fruits. Don't go for the exotic fruits that are found in only some markets, basically because they'll be covered with pesticides. I'm not taking too much of time with this because we have one more thing to talk about, which is exercise. And as far as why do people not exercise? The chat box is still empty. I think rather than being involved in the conversation, I think you should put down a couple of questions also. So how much exercise should you do? What sort of exercise should you do? So many people who are above the age of 40 or 50 or whatever, they feel like Dr. Shantala Kenny, who is my friend, she is an out and out runner and a track star also. So other than that, most people do not have lots of excuses for not doing any exercise. So right now I have devised what is the minimum exercise that you need. So I am of the opinion that everybody should buy a smartwatch. It costs very little. Some of these smartwatches cost less than 1,500, 1.5K. You can see how many steps you are doing every day, how many flights of stairs you are climbing every day. So there are two kinds of exercises that you should do. One is cardio. Cardio will include the brisk walk, the jogging, the swimming, the cycling, the elliptical. All these things will come under cardio. And then you have to do a little bit of strength training also. You can use either dumbbells or body weight exercises, or you can join a local gym and you have to do strength training at least for 30 minutes, minimum twice a week. Or if you're averse to going to the gym, you can just carry weights around. Or you can climb 10 flights of stairs every day. I would encourage everybody to climb at least 10 flights of stairs every day, not continuously. If you have an upstairs at home, you just climb it 10 times. Always keep a tab on how much you're doing because that is going to motivate you. So you climb 10 flights of stairs every day, try to put in at least 7,000 steps a day. So that is the minimum amount of exercise that you can. Why did I ask you to climb the stairs? Isn't it enough to climb and go up and incline? To climb the stairs is very important because your lower extremity strength is paramount in preventing your fall after a particular age. What happens after the age of 60? The chances are that you will fall are more. What happens if you fall after the age of 60? The chances are that you will break a bone. Which bone will you break after the age of 60? It is usually going to be the hip bone. But when you are young and if you fall, you will usually break the wrist, the Colles fracture of the wrist. Why? Because your reaction time is less when you are getting older. Why is your reaction time less? And why do you fall more often when you get older? Because you are losing your muscle. Anybody who is on a very strict diet and feel very tired and do not exercise because they want to lose weight is actually not losing fat. They are losing their muscle. And it is very dangerous to lose your muscle. You know why? there is no test that can be done to know how good your muscle strength is. There are a couple of matrices which are very difficult to do if you really think about it. I'll give you a couple of small incentives. One is lie down on a mat on the floor and try to get up from the lying down position, stand up without touching the floor with your hands. Lie down on the floor on a mat, somehow or other, without touching the floor with your complete hand. You cannot put your elbow like that and get up. Without using your upper extremity, try to get up from the floor. Another one is sit on a chair, put one leg above the other, cross leg like this, and then try to get up with one leg. So these are very simple things which I am able to do. I am touching 60. I am able to do it even now. And I am sure at least the below 40-year-olds should try to do these things and get a little bit of strength, upper body strength as well as lower body strength. So regarding cardio, so many people go for a walk. So how much walk should you do? At what speed should you walk? You should walk. There is something called an 80-20 formula, wherein 80% of the time you should walk at a speed where you can have a conversation, but a conversation with difficulty. You shouldn't be walking too slowly. And 20% of the time, you should not be able to even speak. So if you're not a runner or a jogger, what you can do is you can go climb 3 flights of stairs at a stretch. Take 30 seconds. Climb 3 flights of stairs at a stretch. You'll be short of that. If you do that a couple of times every day, you will have excellent cardiopulmonary capacity. So these are the basic minimum things that you need to do every day. It is good to join a gym and follow the. And if you are joining a gym, you should eat the same things as before. Don't go on any supplements. They are all processed food. They are unnecessary food. They would definitely, and even in Trivandrum city, I think there are 50 shops selling protein powders, 50. So that is really in the market, and the profit is alarming. You really do not need whey protein or soy protein or anything. You can have soya bean. You can have your milk, your curd, everything. It is very safe. Don't have it in powdered form, which comes in a bottle with a label. Anything with a label, you have to be really scared about, and you have to really read all the labels, because most of these soft drinks, everything, they have 7 to 8 teaspoons of sugar. And now what they are doing is, they add salt also. And most of these fast food chains have a dangerous combination of fat, sugar, and salt. All three are harmful for us. So to be in moderation, it is always better to eat home cooked food, which may not be possible all the time. But you should always keep in mind, even the best hotels are not going to give you the best oil. They're going to use something spurious for the preparation of their dishes. Let us move on to, now it is 9 p.m. Shall I take 10 more minutes?
Yes, of course, sir.
Okay. Then we'll go back to Q&A, wherein I will discuss a few other things. So regarding the fourth pillar of health, fourth pillar is actually when you will realize it only when it strikes you. There are a couple of things. People adopt various things for managing their happiness, peace of mind, lots of things. But I have been going through a lot of literature. I do not follow any particular person, any godman, any particular ideology for this. So I try to find out and sort of organize lots of aspects from various ideologies. What I have found out is this also comes from one of the ideologies. I'm not stating which ideology. I heard a very old Western monk, a lady. She was saying, get peace of mind. You just need to decide upon not doing 5 things in your day-to-day life. Please note this down. These are 5 C's of life. C. Number 1, do not criticize. Number 2, do not complain. Number 3, do not compete. Number 4, do not compare. And number 5, do not content. Content is not C-O-N-T-E-N-T. By content, she meant contentious issues. Like, for example, Russia is bombing Ukraine. You cannot do anything. And there is a lot of starvation in Africa. You cannot do anything. And 3 people committed suicide in our own Trivandrumites committed suicide in Arunachal Pradesh. I cannot do anything about it. So those are contentious issues. You can, a simple example is our evening TV news time. Whether there is something political that is happening, nothing. It is not in our hands. We just have one vote. So you cast that vote to whomever you want. Don't get involved in this rubbish. So the 5 C's that you have to avoid is, 1 is stop criticizing. This I try, like I do not try to criticize anybody at least till 12 noon. If you start off by doing that, then you can really master this. Do not criticize, do not complain, do not compete, do not compare, and do not contend. Then if you get all these things, see, there are 2 words. One is ascetic and one is athletic. So ascetic means something like a yogi or somebody who's called the Himalayan ascetic. Somebody who offers penance in the Himalayas is called an ascetic. And an athletic is Usain Bolt is an athlete. Nikki is an athlete. So what is the difference or the similarity between ascetic and athletic? We think one person is just sitting there simply, not taking any responsibility, just being very selfish, sitting like that on his own. But actually, the Latin word for both has the same root. It both means the same. That is to say, if you have good mental health, you will not have good physical health. But if you have good physical health, and if you get good sleep, and if you have a good nutritional balance, your mental health or your mental well-being will be much better than what you were having previously. I think because it's already 9:05, I think I'll wind up the session. And you can ask, regarding the doubts, you can just switch on your or unmute your this thing and ask any question. But there are a few questions in the chat box. I think one of you will.
First one is, sir, your point of view on intermittent fasting, sir.
Okay. Intermittent fasting recently had a very bad name regarding a study which was published in one of our newspapers. I am very much against publishing health studies in newspapers. Health studies have all, different reasons and meanings towards it. But this came in a newspaper saying that intermittent fasting is very bad. But in my opinion, and with all scientific background, in fact, intermittent fasting got the Nobel Prize for Medicine for Dr. Yoshigori in 2016. And he has mentioned in his thesis our own age-old Ekadashi fasting. which was followed by Indians on new moon and full moon days, a 24-hour water fasting, which our Prime Minister Modi ji is still doing, even with his hefty schedule. It has been mentioned in intermittent fasting. I'll tell you just the basics of intermittent fasting, and I'll make it very simple. Number one, intermittent fasting, there are two windows in 24 hours. One is the food window and one is the fasting window. You have to increase the fasting window and reduce the food window. Supposing somebody says, I skipped lunch. That doesn't do anything for intermittent fasting. You have a late breakfast and an early dinner. That is intermittent fasting. So you have to decide. So there is always an argument between which is more important. Breakfast is the most important. This thing. When I went for a session in Kottayam, one of the elderly lady doctors, she came to me, held my arm and said, you tell them breakfast is very important. They are all skipping breakfast. See, actually, that is not important. It depends upon what you are having for breakfast. When you are having your breakfast, the real most important thing is intermittent fasting. The fasting window should be much more than the food window. You should get at least 12 to 14 hours of fasting window. That is all. That is my take on intermittent fasting. I can speak half an hour about intermittent fasting, but I don't think this is the right time. So the best option that you can all do is have dinner 3 hours before you go to bed. At least 3 hours. If you can have it by 7:30, well and good. That is the best.
Okay, sir. Next question. We get many new food replaced diet powders. Is it healthy? They claim to be very healthy and promise weight loss. Dr. Indu.
No. See, all powders are processed food. If you buy orange juice or apple juice, it is processed food. Better to have an apple. That is my take.
Okay. Now, collagen supplements.
I wouldn't advise. You don't need collagen supplements. There is no study which states that it will improve your collagen. Postmenopausal women will have better collagen and osteoporosis will be less if they do strength training or resistance training.
Now,
To be very frank, I am against all supplements.
how can we prevent sarcopenia?
Sarcopenia is muscle loss. Sarcopenia can be prevented only by doing resistance training. Otherwise, after the age of 50, you tend to lose 5% of your muscle, 2 to 5% of your muscle every 10 years in 1 decade after the age of 50. But you can lose the same amount of muscle if you are very sedentary also.
Then another question, would like to know more on keto diet and low fat diet.
Low fat diet and keto diet by American Heart Association recently did a very big study on all sorts of keto, Atkins, low fat diet, and they all got very low marks. No restrictive diet is good. Always try to put in more fiber, try to put in more fruits, more vegetables, more whole food plant-based. You can have non-veg, but don't try it. And
Okay.
try to avoid all sorts of processed foods. See, KFC, McDonald's, all these things are processed. You cannot put a name on it. It only tastes like when Maggi noodles came in first. And before that, most of you may not remember that when Resna came, Resna had all sorts of flavors, orange flavor. It was the same thing. Only thing is you put one essence into it, it becomes orange flavor. You put another essence into it, it becomes lime flavor. You put another essence, it becomes something else. So likewise, when you are eating McDonald's or KFC, it is not chicken. It is basically something that tastes like chicken. And now you have vegan meat. I tried that when somebody bought it from the US. Vegan meat tastes exactly like beef, like pork. It is all vegetarian. They have vegan eggs also. So it is better not to try anything that is processed.
Almost the questions in the chat box is over, sir. Should we restrict some food if we have autoimmune disorders? What's your opinion about anti-inflammatory diet, sir?
Yeah, very good question. I think I mentioned that having fiber in your diet is the most anti-inflammatory diet that you can have. See, I have been trying or making myself a guinea pig. I have not been taking any tablets for my diabetes, for my dyslipidemia, and for my cardiac dysfunction. I have been managing only on diet and exercise for the past 20 years, and I have good control over my values also. So, if you have an autoimmune disease, what you should do is you should try to put in one fiber every 6-7 days. Don't try to put in all the fibers. What people do is they go to a millet shop, then buy jowar, ragi, bajra, തെന അത് ഇതെല്ലാം കൂടെ വാങ്ങിച്ചിട്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം കൂടെ ഇട്ട് കുഴച്ച് നമ്മൾ when you wean a small child from breastfeeding, what do? One day you will get give ragi, another day you will get give മറ്റേ ഏത്തക്കാപ്പൊടി അല്ലെ banana vita, another day you will give the child a pinch of something else. Why? To get the child accustomed to it. So every, like we were mentioning about, it has got a scientific backing also. That is, as I mentioned earlier, this 40 trillion bacteria, 40% of it changes in 6 days time. 40% of it changes in 6 days time. So what happens to the rest 60%? The 40%, the new ones are coming into a new classroom. They don't know the old classroom with all the benches and the desks and all that. Now they are coming into a smart classroom. So if you just want to stop having something which you really love, you really like having sweets all the time. Supposing you want to break that habit, you proclaim to everyone in the family that from today onwards, I am going to stop eating sweets for 1 week. So you stop having any sweet for 7 days. 8th day, you don't feel like eating a sweet. But if you take one more sweet, you will start eating it again. So it is always better to drop one bad habit and try to bring in one good habit. Drop one bad habit, take 7 days, 40% of the microbiome has forgotten what you were having before that. Supposing you want to stop drinking alcohol, taking alcohol, you go off alcohol for 7 days. And then after that, what you need to do is at night before you go to bed, you have a green tea. Then after 7 days, after 14 days, the gut microbiome, 80% of your gut microbiome doesn't know that you have taken alcohol all these years. And 80% of the gut microbiome thinks that you have been taking green tea all along. So that is the way you change your behavior. It's actually very easy to change your behavior. Only thing is you should know the right ingredients. Yeah, sambar വെക്കുന്ന പോലെ ആയിപ്പോവല്ലേ. I just put in all these things and make sambar. It doesn't taste like anything like the good sambar that is usually being cooked. So you should know the right method.
Okay, sir. Next question. Best time to exercise. After dinner, is it advisable to exercise?
No. That is a good question. Because after exercise, if you are playing badminton or tennis or some kind of racket sport or basketball, it really releases some dopamine as well as serotonin. Serotonin is a happiness hormone. Dopamine is what gives you a high. It is called a runner's high. We usually have that runner's high when we go for half marathons and all that. Even if you're so dead tired, you feel so happy. It's like saying, okay, exams are over. I did not sleep yesterday. I'm feeling very sleepy. but somebody calls you for a movie. Let us go for second show. നല്ല സിനിമയാ എന്തോന്ന് ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഹിറ്റ് മൂവി പ്രേമിലു or something. You'll definitely go, and you won't feel sleepy also. That is because the hormones that are released are keeping you awake. So this playing sort of thing, if you're going for an evening walk, is well and good, but otherwise better to not to exercise at night. And in our climate, exercising in the afternoon is out of question. It's too hot and humid. You should not be exercising. So basically, exercising in the morning would be better. Regarding having your food, it is always better to have your food 1 hour after the finish of exercise, within 1 hour. And after having a meal, you should exercise only after 2 hours. So if you're going for exercise in the evening, you can have your dinner 1 hour just after. If you finish off playing badminton at 7 o'clock, you can have dinner by 8.
Okay, so next, what is the best way to have more fiber in our day-to-day life, especially in our fast life?
F goals. Write down all the F goals. Try to 1, 2, 3 tick ചെയ്ത് പോയാൽ മതി. I had 2 fruits. I had 4 vegetables. I had some grain. I had fermented foods. And all those things. Onion, garlic. These are things sometimes some people avoid because they don't like it. You can put in all those things, and there are some excellent fermented foods. I have been trying kefir. Kefir is available online on Amazon. Very easy to make. Just takes you 24 hours. പാൽ ഒഴിച്ച് വെച്ചിരുന്നാൽ മാത്രം മതി. Kefir. And the common fermented foods which you can try is kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi. All these are kombucha tea has sugar, lots of sugar, so don't try that. It is available in Kumbakonam coffee. It's available in Starbucks also. Don't try that because it's too much sugar. Otherwise, you can try out some fermented foods. It is very good for your health. That is the way you can get a lot of fiber into your. And you need 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day.
Okay, so
ഏറ്റവും
now,
എളുപ്പ വഴി ഞാൻ what I do is
Hmm.
എല്ലാ ദിവസവും കടല, ഗ്രീൻ പീസ്, ചെറുപയറ്, വൻപയറ്, രാജ്മ ഇതെല്ലാം കൂടെയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലുമോ കുറെ സ്പ്രൗട്ട്സ് ഓൾസോ ഹാസ് ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് ഫൈബർ.
Now raw fruits and vegetables contain so much of pesticides. How we can reduce its harmful effects in our body?
Yeah. We cannot reduce harmful effects of pesticides in our body. It's sheer poison. What you can do is you can wash it in flowing water, keep it in water for 15 minutes, then put soda bicarbonate into a bucket of water, keep it again for 15 minutes, wash it again, and then use it. Peel off the peel and use. That is the only way. And don't be bothered about getting all those nutrients by eating raw vegetables. Don't eat raw salad. Boil it and boil it. No, it's not actually steam it and use. Today evening also I had steamed vegetables for dinner. High in fiber, very nutritious, and you won't get any of the pesticides also.
Okay, so now one more question. Any diet plan to reduce water retention?
Water retention. You need water for your body. Don't water retention. Water retention usually happens when there is a renal problem. So any illness you have should be managed like that. Otherwise, you should not try reducing water. You should not try overhydration also. I would say for an okay sedentary person needs around 2 liters of water a day. But you have to keep 2 bottles of water. Now there is a bottle which says have me before 12 p.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., 5 p.m. and all that. Likewise, you can, especially for children, so many of them, if they are sitting inside AC rooms, they drink very little water. It can cause lots of problems, including urinary tract infection. You should have at least 2 liters of water. People who are exercising vigorously should have more.
Okay, cycling, exercise after food will blunt glucose spike or not?
Actually, exercise spike will be blunted if you walk for 10 minutes after your dinner. Even after lunch also, but walking after lunch may be pretty tough. But dinner, അതാണ് അത്താഴത്തിന് ശേഷം അരക്കാതൽ നടക്കണം.
Now, what is the basic difference between cardio versus resistance exercise?
Basic
Cardio versus resistance exercise.
എന്താണ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യന്റെ തുടക്കം basic.
Difference between, what is the
Okay.
basic difference between cardio and resistance?
Okay, cardio is for your heart and lungs. Resistance exercise is the only thing that will build your muscles. The organ of longevity is muscle. Like was mentioned earlier, you have to prevent yourself from sarcopenia. Otherwise, you will fall. If you fall and if you break your femur after the age of 60, 30% will die within 1 year, and the 70% who live will never have a good quality of life.
Now, is it true that some fibers cause a leaky gut?
Not really. There are two kinds of fibers. One is soluble and insoluble. Leaky gut is actually caused by SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That is usually caused by lack of fiber. But the thing is, like I already mentioned, they have tried fiber in so many of the Western populations who take zero fiber. So you cannot just, all these studies are done only for 4 weeks for lack of people who will adhere to the study. So if you ask them to take all these fiber on all days, they will not adhere to it. After some time, they will say that my system is completely gone wrong. I'm having constipation. I'm having diarrhea. I'm having gaseous distension. So actually, there is no proof that fiber is bad for health, but you have to take it very slowly, increase it slowly.
Okay, sir. Now, cycling is basically cardio.
Yes, cycling is basically cardio. If you cycle uphill, see, resistance exercise for the legs only. Even if you do high intensity interval training, which will give you both. But I will tell you two things which will give you both, cardio as well as resistance. One is dancing. Dancing will give you both, cardio as well as resistance. And another one is Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar will give you both cardio as well as resistance. And so many other things also, like gardening. If you're really into കൃഷിപ്പണിയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്നവർക്ക് വെട്ടുകയും കിളക്കുകയും വാരം തൂക്കി വെള്ളം ഒഴിക്കുകയും എല്ലാം ചെയ്യുന്നവർക്ക് that is all round exercise. And there is something called exercise snacks now. That is your heart first body, your OP goes on 4-5 hours or 7-8 hours. You are always in the dental chair. So what you can do is you can take a small break, go up 3 flights of stairs, just push your heart for 30 seconds and come back. That is considered very good for your circulation.
Sir,
exercise snack.
സർ ഭയങ്കര ഡൂവബിൾ ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് എന്താ കണ്ടന്റ് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന തരത്തിൽ പറയുന്നുണ്ട് ഇത്രയും അധികം റെസ്പോൺസസ് ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ വരുന്നത്.
I am ready to answer all the questions.
One more question. Please tell something about the fecal transplantation.
Fecal transplantation is definitely going to happen, whether we like it or not. It may not work well because it is supposed we must be having at least thousands of bacterial species in our food. So, supposing I have 1,000 species, another person may not have the same species. So, it has not been proved that somebody else's, a person who is living till the age of 100, that is what these people are trying to do. A person who is still living till 100, they take their mycobacteria from their gut microbiome. You don't really have to take their food. You can take it otherwise also. And then you grow the bacteria in the lab and then put it in a capsule and then they are going to give it to you. So that is fecal transplant. It may really be life-saving in some conditions like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, some chronic autoimmune intestinal diseases. It may be very useful. It is just like AI. It has not been proven. It may come up. Supposing it comes up, it is going to give a lease of life to so many people for something.
Dr. Terry, if you
Green
words
leaves
about
like
this.
question green leaves
Okay,
like
yes, one question. Yeah. Green leaves like moringa.
Jeera.
Yes, moringa and jeera will give good fiber, right? What about protein content? Opinion regarding soya chunks.
Soya chunks has a small problem with oxytocin and some female hormones. But I don't think anybody is going to go on a soya diet. So if you buy soya and prepare it at home, that will be fine once in a while. And I am not for anybody going on a millet diet. You have it once a week or twice a week. Always in moderation would be better. Our gut is pretty strong stuff. You shouldn't play with it. And we have been used to playing with it all the time. Finally, it is going to dump you.
Moderation and the balance between the 4 pillars is the key.
Yeah.
Dr. Terry, a few words. Sir, Dr. Mutana. Unmute an option. Okay. Now you can.
Yeah. The host has to unmute.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, first of all, Sarnoda, thank you so much. ഇത്രയും 4 pillars of our health-നെ കുറിച്ച് ഇത്രയും നല്ലൊരു ക്ലാസ് എടുത്താൻ I think all of them എല്ലാവരും റിയലി എനിക്കും ട്രാവൽ ചെയ്യേണ്ടതാണ്. എനിവേ അത് കേട്ടിരുന്നപ്പോ ഇരുന്നു പോയി ഈ ഒരു ടൈം വരെ. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്. അത് കൂടാതെ സർവീസിലിരിക്കുന്ന സാറിന് റിട്ടയർമെന്റ് പറഞ്ഞതിലുള്ള ഒരു ക്ഷമാപണവും കൂടെ ഇതിന്റെ കൂടെ പറയുകയാണ്. ഓക്കെ, സോ എനിവേ ആസ് ഐ ടോൾഡ് ബിഫോർ, prevention is always better than cure, but least importance have been given to prevention. അതാണ് നമ്മളിപ്പോ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ സാർ അത് പറഞ്ഞത് എല്ലാവർക്കും അതൊരു ഗുണമാവട്ടെ. Hope this session has benefited you, and please spread this awareness to our family, even to our patients and to the society. Okay, please do note that taking care of our physical and mental well-being, we build a strong foundation for the fulfillment of our life. Okay. അപ്പോ എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്. ആൻഡ് once again, thank you, sir, for giving us this time. One more thing, WDC, all the chairman, secretary, as well as please take a feedback form എല്ലാവർക്കും കൊടുക്കണം, so that next time we any topics which they wanted അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളിലേക്ക് we need to go, and ഇതിനെ കുറിച്ചുള്ള feedback we need to have it this week itself. Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you so much, dear members. For ഈ ഒരു നാളെ പോലെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു എല്ലാവരും എക്സസൈസും അവരുടെ ബാലൻസ് ഡയറ്റും ഒക്കെ ആയിട്ട് എനിവേ അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു കുറച്ച് ആൾക്കാരെങ്കിലും മാറാൻ സാധിച്ചുവെങ്കിൽ that is help for the community. Thank you so much and good night.
ഒരു കാര്യം പറഞ്ഞോട്ടെ, എന്റെ feel free to share my mobile number. Message ഇട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ I'll respond within a few hours.
Wow.
Thanks a lot. Had a great time discussing.
Yes.
Dr. One more officially ഒരു വോട്ട് ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സ് പറയാനായിട്ട് ഞങ്ങളുടെ WDC കോ കൺവീനറും നമുക്ക് അൻവയ എന്ന് പേരിട്ടതും ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിന്റെ ബ്രോഷർ ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്തതുമായ ഡോക്ടർ
Dr.
ഷെറിൻ
Sherin.
തോമസ്.
മാതൃ ഓൾസോ വാസ് അങ്ങനെ ആയിരുന്നു. അതായത് അത് ഭയങ്കര ഒരു ഇതായിരുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച്.
Thank you.
Sherin?
Cherry doctor. Yes. Parjo doctor.
Yeah, it's over to you now.
Okay. Cherry doctor already unofficial vote of thanks പറഞ്ഞു. എന്നാലും it's before winding up, let me just say a few words of gratitude. First of all, I would like to thank our faculty, Dr. Shankar Ram sir, for the interesting session. Sir, അത് വളരെ ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് സിമ്പിൾ ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് എങ്ങനെ പ്രാക്ടിക്കലി ചെയ്യാം എല്ലാത്തിൻ്റെയും സയന്റിഫിക് രീതിയും ഹൗ ഇറ്റ് റിയലി വർക്ക്സ്, ഓരോ കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, എങ്ങനെയാണ് അതിൻ്റെ ആ ഫാക്ട് എല്ലാം നമുക്ക് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്തു തന്നു. ഹോപ്പ് ഈ സെഷൻ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്ത എല്ലാവരും നാളെ മുതൽ വിൽ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ഡൂയിങ് exercises, continue to start, take a good decision towards a good healthy life. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to thank our president, IDA Kerala State, Dr. Terry Thomas. ഡോക്ടറിന്റെ തിരക്ക് പിടിച്ച സമയത്തിന്റെ ഇടയിൽ ഞങ്ങളുടെ സെഷനിൽ ഫുൾ ഡോക്ടർ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു സോ മച്ച് ഫോർ യുവർ സപ്പോർട്ട് ഫോർ ഓൾ ദി WDC ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ്. And next, I would like to thank our Honorary Secretary, Dr. Deebu, even though he is not present in the meeting. His help and guidance is always there for the activities of WDC. And next, I would like to thank our IDA KSP WDC chairperson, Dr. Sarah Christopher. Sarah had wonderful thoughts and inputs in all the WDC activities is really appreciable. And ഡോക്ടറിന്റെ ഒത്തിരി പേഴ്സണൽ ഇതിന്റെ ഇടയിലാണ് ഡോക്ടർ ഇത് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ഇത് ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. And I thank Dr. Sarah for this. And let me thank the program coordinator, Dr. Usha. ഡോക്ടറിന്റെ ഐഡിയ ആണ് ആക്ച്വലി വെബ് സീരീസ് ഫോർ ഹെൽത്ത് ഡേ ആയിട്ട് റിലേറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് ഒരു വെബ് സീരീസ് വേണമെന്ന് ഡോക്ടർ സാറുടെ അടുത്തും എൻ്റെ അടുത്തും ആദ്യം മുതലേ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. ആക്ച്വലി താങ്ക് യു ഡോക്ടർ ഉഷ ഫോർ യുവർ വണ്ടർഫുൾ ആ ഒരു ഐഡിയയും അത് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ ആവും, ഐ എം ഷുവർ. ആൻഡ് ഐ താങ്ക് ഓൾ ദി പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ്. നല്ലൊരു പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേഷൻ, മോർ ദൻ 68 ഐ തിങ്ക് 68 പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ് വരെ നമുക്ക് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ആൻഡ് ഐ റിക്വസ്റ്റ് all your support for the further series. ഇനി നമ്മൾ കുറച്ച് അധികം അറൌണ്ട് 10 വെബിനാർസ് നമ്മൾ കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. അതിന് നിങ്ങളുടെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കണം. ആൻഡ് ഓൾ ദ WDC ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസിനും നിങ്ങളുടെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കണം. ആൻഡ് താങ്ക് യു ഓൾ. ഓവർ ടു യു ഡോക്ടർ ഉഷ.
Thank you, Dr. Sherin. Dr. Shankar, once again, thank you. വീണ്ടും ഈ 10-month സീരീസിൽ എപ്പോഴെങ്കിലും സാറിന് വീണ്ടും ഞങ്ങളെ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ സാധിക്കട്ടെ വിത്ത് അനദർ ടോപ്പിക്. കാരണം സാർ ഗട്ട് നമ്മളെപ്പോഴും പറയും, എന്താ പറയുക, സൈക്കോളജിസ്റ്റും കൂടി ആയതുകൊണ്ട് പറയാണ്, മെന്റൽ ഹെൽത്തിന് ഗട്ട് ആസ് ദ സെക്കൻഡ് ബ്രെയിൻ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു കൺസെപ്റ്റ് വരുന്നുണ്ട് ഇപ്പോ. സോ ഗട്ട് ബ്രെയിൻ ആക്സസ് ഇസ് വെരി വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ടോപ്പിക്കിൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വീണ്ടും സാറെ കാണാൻ സാധിക്കട്ടെ എന്ന് പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു എവ്രി വൺ.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.